Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're exploring Lincoln Wheat penny coins, classic American cents known for their iconic wheat design on the back. These coins were made decades ago, and while many are still easy to find, some are rare and highly sought after by collectors. Let's take a look at what makes these old pennies special and which ones might be hiding serious value. First up, the 1951 Lincoln Wheat penny is a classic example of American coinage from the mid-20th century and continues to be a valued piece among collectors and historians alike. Minted at the San Francisco Mint, this coin is part of the long-running Lincoln Cent series, which began in 1909 and features the famous wheat ears reverse that defined the penny design for nearly 50 years. The 1951 penny offers a glimpse into a time in American history when coinage was not only functional for daily commerce, but also carried symbolic meaning in its design and purpose. This specific coin being in good condition means it retains a fair amount of its original detail while showing the normal signs of wear that come from circulation and age. It continues to capture interest due to its historic background, the era it represents, and its contribution to one of the most iconic coin series in American history. On the obverse side of the 1951 Lincoln Wheat penny is the profile of President Abraham Lincoln. This portrait, which first appeared in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday, was designed by Victor David Brenner and is notable for being the first depiction of a real person on a circulating American coin. Above Lincoln's head is the phrase "In God We Trust," a long-standing motto that reflects the nation's values. To the left of the portrait is the word liberty, and to the right is the date 1951 accompanied by the small s mint mark, which identifies the San Francisco Mint as the place where this particular coin was produced. While the coin is in good condition, it is likely that some finer details, such as the texture of Lincoln's hair or subtle features in his face, may be slightly worn down from years of handling and use. The reverse of the coin features the iconic wheat ears design, which gives the Lincoln Wheat penny its popular nickname. The center of the reverse reads 1 cent and United States of America, a bold and straightforward font flanked by curved wheat stalks along the left and right edges of the coin. This agricultural motif symbolized the importance of American farming and the strength of the country's agricultural foundation during the early to mid-20th century. Above the main inscriptions is the motto E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many one, reflecting the unity of the American states and the ideal of forming a single nation from many parts. Though the reverse may also show where in this good condition coin the primary details should still be visible, with the wheat ears remaining recognizable even if slightly faded. The 1951 Lincoln penny is composed primarily of bronze and alloy made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This metal composition gives the coin its warm red and brown tones, though with age and circulation the surface may darken or develop various patinas depending on how the coin was stored or handled over time. Good condition coins may have slight discoloration or dulling of the original shine, but still present enough detail for identification and appreciation. Collectors who value circulated coins often find beauty in these imperfections as they tell a story of the coin's journey through time and commerce. Historically, the year 1951 was a time of post-war growth and transition in the United States. The country was entering the early stages of the Cold War. The Korean War was ongoing, and American society was experiencing the beginning of what would become the baby boom era. In this context, coins like the 1951 Lincoln penny were used daily by millions of people in grocery stores, diners, gas stations, and countless other everyday transactions. Each coin from this period offers a tangible link to the lives and experiences of the American people during a complex and transformative time in the nation's history. The San Francisco Mint produced over 136 million Lincoln pennies in 1951, making this a fairly common coin in terms of mintage. However, the presence of the S mint mark and the enduring popularity of wheat pennies make it a desirable addition for collectors aiming to complete a full Lincoln cent set. While higher-grade uncirculated versions of the 1951 S penny are more sought-after, coins in good condition are still valuable to those who appreciate the historical journey and context behind the coin. Collectors often admire how even common coins can carry deep historical relevance and emotional connection to the past. In good condition, this coin still carries much of its original design and identity, though it bears the marks of time in its worn edges and softened details. This wear is a reflection of its service in circulation, where it was likely passed through countless hands over many decades. It may have been used to buy a newspaper, a cup of coffee, or a piece of candy in the 1950s, all small yet significant parts of everyday life. As such, the 1951 S Lincoln penny becomes more than just a small copper coin. It is a representation of history, culture, and economy embedded in metal. Next up, we have the 1947 D Lincoln wheat penny is a notable piece of American coinage that represents both historical and numismatic value. Struck at the Denver Mint as indicated by the D Mint mark, this penny forms part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, which began in 1909. The series is named for its depiction of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and wheat ears on the reverse, which was the standard design until 1958. The 1947 D penny comes from a post-World War II era when the United States was transitioning from wartime production to peacetime economic growth. Although the mintage of this coin was relatively high, its significance is tied not only to its numbers, but to the historical context it represents and the journey each coin has taken through the hands of everyday Americans. The specific coin in question has a black shade on the front side, which indicates a natural toning process or exposure to environmental elements over time in character to its appearance. The obverse of the 1947 D Lincoln wheat penny features the right-facing bust of President Abraham Lincoln, a design created by Victor David Brenner. This portrait has remained one of the most enduring images in United States coinage history. Above Lincoln's head is the motto "In God We Trust," while the word liberty appears to the left and the year 1947 to the right, with the small D mint mark just below the year. In this coin, the black shade present on the front side may be the result of age combined with exposure to moisture, air, or handling. Such discoloration is common in older coins, and though it may not be visually appealing to all, it is a sign of the coin's authenticity and the passage of time. The darkened surface could also obscure some of the finer details of Lincoln's face and features, but his outline and key design elements likely remain identifiable. On the reverse side of the coin is the classic wheat ears design. This design features the stylized stalks of wheat curving along the left and right edges of the coin, enclosing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above these central words is the Latin phrase pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, which refers to the unity of the United States. This reverse design was symbolic of America's agricultural roots and national values, even if the obverse shows black shading. The reverse may still have retained a more uniform tone unless it was similarly exposed to environmental elements. Over time, coins can develop a variety of patinas and tones depending on where they were kept and how they were handled, and this gives each coin a unique appearance. The 1947 D penny was minted from a bronze composition, which includes 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This mixture gives the coin its reddish hue when new, but as copper reacts to air and moisture, it can darken or turn various shades, including brown, black, or even green in certain circumstances. The black shade on the obverse of this coin is not uncommon and does not necessarily affect the coin's historical value. It is a visible record of the aging process and adds to the story that the coin tells. Collectors often have differing opinions about toned coins, with some preferring shiny, uncirculated examples, while others appreciate the natural look and character that comes from decades of circulation and storage. During the year 1947, the United States was undergoing major changes. The economy was growing following the end of World War and Americans were adjusting to a post-war lifestyle. Coins like this penny were used every day in buying groceries, paying for transit, or making small purchases. These cents were among the most circulated denominations in the country, and they played a crucial role in the daily economic activity of the time. Each penny from this period is a silent witness to the routines and rhythms of American life in the late 1940s. The 1947 D. Lincoln Wheat penny is no exception, and its physical condition reflects its long history of use and handling. From a collector's perspective, the 1947 D penny is not considered rare because the Denver Mint produced over 194 million of these coins. However, its condition, toning, and any errors it may have contribute to its individual interest. Coins with strong details and original luster are valued more highly, but those with natural aging and will still hold significance, especially for those building circulated sets or looking for coins that tell a story. The black shade on this coin's front may reduce its appeal to some, but for others it adds depth and character. It is an honest indication that the coin has survived for more than 75 years and has likely passed through many hands and places. Next up we have the 1948 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark is a classic example of mid-20th century American coinage and belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it does not carry any mint mark. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln cent was the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real person rather than a symbolic representation of liberty. By 1948, this coin had been in production for nearly 4 decades and was widely used in everyday commerce across the United States. The example from 1948 in circulated condition reflects the passage of time and the hands it has passed through. Offering more than just monetary value, it holds historical significance and tells a story of life in post-World War II America. The obverse side of the coin displays a right-facing profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design has become one of the most recognized and enduring images in American numismatics. Above Lincoln's portrait is the inscription, "In God We Trust," while the word liberty appears to the left and the year 1948 is shown on the right. Since there is no mint mark under the year, it confirms that the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Being in circulated condition, the coin may show varying degrees of wear. This wear typically manifests as smoothing of the high points of Lincoln's face and hair, and some flattening or fading of the finer details. Despite this, the essential elements of the design often remain visible, allowing it to retain its identity and value as a collectible. On the reverse side of the coin, the design features the stylized ears of wheat curving along each side, enclosing the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America. Above these central elements is the Latin phrase pluribus unum, which translates to out of many one. This wheat design was used from 1909 until 1958 and symbolizes the agricultural strength and foundational values of the United States during that era. For the 1948 coin, years of circulation likely led to some wear on this side as well. The edges of the wheat stalks may be less defined, and some of the finer lines might be smooth or faint. However, the general layout and text usually remain legible, which helps in identifying and appreciating the coin's original artistry. Coins minted in 1948 were struck from a bronze composition consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This alloy gave the coin a distinctive reddish color when new, which over time can deepen to brown due to oxidation and environmental exposure. The fact that this coin is in circulated condition suggests it may now have a darker or even uneven tone, which is normal for older copper coins. These changes in color and surface texture are not flaws, but rather signs of the coin's long journey through the economic life of the country. Every coin that remains in circulation or is kept as a collectible brings with it the traces of its history and use. The year 1948 was a time of transition and growth in the United States. The country was just a few years removed from World War II and was experiencing rapid economic and social change. Millions of returning veterans were starting families, buying homes, and entering the workforce. Coins like the 1948 Lincoln cent were used in everyday purchases from grocery stores to diners and public transportation. These pennies were part of the small change that fueled the post-war consumer economy. Holding a coin from this time is like holding a small piece of that era's daily life, preserved in metal even as the world around it continued to evolve. Although the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is not considered a rare coin due to its high mintage, its value lies in its historical context and the role it played in American society. Over 317 million of these coins were produced at the Philadelphia Mint in 1948, making them relatively easy to find for collectors. Still, each coin has unique wear patterns and coloration depending on how and where it was stored or circulated. Collectors often seek coins like this one to complete a set or to connect with a specific time in history. Even a coin in circulated condition has a place in a collection, especially for those who appreciate the authenticity and character that come with age. When evaluating a coin like this for personal or historical interest, one should consider not just its market value, but its narrative. This penny has been a witness to decades of change, from the post-war boom to the digital age. Its smooth surfaces and faded edges speak to the many times it changed hands, perhaps used by a child to buy candy or by a worker to pay for a morning coffee. These ordinary uses give the coin a sense of realism and continuity with the past. It may not shine like an uncirculated example, but it has a warmth and authenticity that only time can bestow. Next up we have the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a coin minted in Philadelphia during a significant moment in American and global history. This coin comes from the final year of World War II and was part of the nation's everyday commerce. During a time when Americans were seeing the end of global conflict and preparing for post-war recovery, the absence of a mint mark indicates that the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark on coins of this denomination during that period. The condition of this particular coin is described as having a red shade, which means it has retained some or most of its original copper luster and is visually appealing to many collectors, even if it has seen light circulation or minimal handling. The Lincoln wheat penny was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first regular issue United States coin to feature a real person instead of symbolic figures. The obverse design was created by Victor David Brenner and has remained largely unchanged for over a century. On the front of the 1945 penny, Lincoln's right-facing portrait appears with clear inscriptions of the word liberty to the left, the motto "In God We Trust" above, and the date 1945 on the right. Because the coin has no mint mark, it is identified as having been struck in Philadelphia. In coins with red shade, the color is the result of copper oxidation and storage conditions and usually indicates a better preservation state compared to fully brown coins. On the reverse side, the coin features two stylized wheat ears curving inward from each side toward the top. This is the traditional wheat penny reverse design, which was in use from 1909 through 1958. Between the wheat stalks appears the denomination 1 cent and the issuing country United States of America. At the top is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many one, symbolizing the unity of the American states. The details of the wheat stalks can help determine the condition and grade of the coin. In a red shade coin, much of the original detail remains crisp, and the fields or flat areas of the coin may show a gleaming reddish tone that enhances its visual appeal. The 1945 Lincoln penny was struck in large quantities as part of the war era coinage. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 1 billion of these pennies that year, making it one of the most heavily minted coins of the wheat penny series. The high mintage was driven by the demand for coinage during and after the war as economic activity expanded and populations shifted due to military service and factory jobs. Although the coin is common in circulated condition and not rare in the traditional sense, its historical background and bright color give it a certain charm that collectors appreciate, especially when the coin still displays a good level of original red toning. The red shade on a Lincoln penny refers to the natural copper color that remains on the surface if the coin has been stored in a dry and stable environment. Most older copper coins darken over time, becoming brown or even black due to oxidation, exposure to air, and handling. A coin with a red shade is often more desirable because it shows that the surface is closer to how it appeared when it first left the mint. Even when circulated, if the red color remains, this can increase the aesthetic and sometimes monetary value of the coin to certain collectors. This also reflects that the coin may not have spent much time in active circulation or was kept in a place where environmental factors did not excessively wear it down. In terms of composition, the 1945 penny continued the use of the bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This was a return to standard materials following the temporary use of steel cents in 1943 during the war. By 1945, the U.S. Mint had resumed bronze coinage, which offered better durability and a more familiar look and feel for the public. These bronze coins are known for their worn color, which can range from golden red to dark brown depending on how they aged. When collectors refer to red-brown or brown classifications, they are describing the surface color and original mint luster still present.